practical theory number 3, I'm going to show you basic triad constructions. So what we're going to do is go over major triads, minor triads, diminished triads, and augmented triads. I'm going to show you the intervals between the notes, also the functional symbols for those, and we're going to start with major. So a major triad consists of 3 notes, of course triad meaning a 3-note chord. We're going to have a root note, also denoted by the letter R. We will have a major third. We also have a fifth. And that's the basic structure of a major triad. Now the next step is to put notes to the root, the third, and the fifth, and we'll just use G, because why not? So if we have a G major chord, the root is G, the third is B, and the fifth is D. All right. So the intervals between G and B, the interval is a major third. The interval between B and D is a minor third. And the interval between the 2 outside notes, G and D, are a perfect fifth. Okay, so it's P5 right there. I know it's a little bit small, but that's P5. The functional symbol of this is most commonly just a 1. You can also see it in a very old technique called figured bass, where you have the 1 and then a 5-3. That's not particularly common anymore, but you can also see it like that as well. And we get this by taking the outside interval of a perfect fifth and the interval between G and B, a major third. Now what we're going to do is invert this chord. We're going to invert this by taking the bottom note G and bringing it to the top. That's a first inversion G chord, also G major over B. Okay, so this would be a G chord, this would be G over B. Okay. Now, just as a note, whenever you hear somebody talk about inversions, basically what they're doing is they're taking a root position chord, doesn't matter the quality, and they're changing the order of the notes so that there's a different note on the bottom. B to D, that's a minor third. D to G, that's perfect fourth. And up here, B to G, that's a minor sixth. Okay, minor 6, lowercase m, 6. The functional symbol for that, we would take the first interval between the first 2 notes in the chord and combine it with the outside interval, and we would get this. Okay, so that's for the Roman numeral functions, that's 1, looks like a capital I, and 6-3, although it's most commonly written with just the 6. You can see that once in a while, but usually not, and it's usually, the first inversion is just the letter of the chord plus 6. Now we bring this over here, and we're going to bring the B up top now, so it's going to be B, G, and D. The outside interval is a major sixth. Bottom one is a perfect fourth. The top one is a major third. G major over D. So this is what's on top, and to the right of the slash is the bass note. Okay, so here the bass note is B. That's another indication of a first inversion G major chord. Now to get this type of symbol for second inversion, we take the outside interval, which is 6 again, and then D to G is the perfect fourth, so there will be a 4 underneath that. All right, so you can apply this to all the other chords as well. Since I still have 3 qualities to go over, I am going to go through the other ones a little bit quicker. So now we're doing minor triads. A minor triad consists of a root, a flat third, and a fifth. So to get the minor triad, we just take the third of the major and lower it down 1/2 step to make it flat. And for this example, we'll use G minor. Going over the intervals in between the notes again. On the outside, we've got a perfect fifth. First two, we've got a minor third. The second two notes, we have a major third. Okay? It's important to know these because this is how chords are constructed, and if you're learning music theory, this is a must and you have to know it. But also when it comes to hearing certain chords have different little characteristics about it that really distinguish them apart. Like for example, when we get to the augmented chord has a sharp 5, so if you know to listen to the sharp 5, you can recognize it. So anyway, continuing with this, we've got this is a G minor. Bring the G to the top for the first inversion G minor chord. That's a major 6 from B flat to G. D to G is a perfect fourth for your G minor over B flat. Last one, B flat goes to the top, B flat, G, and D. D to B flat is a minor 6th. First two notes, D to G, that's your perfect fourth. G to B is your minor third. So that you get a G minor over D, that's a second inversion. When you're talking about triads, there's no such thing as a third inversion. A third inversion only exists when you're talking about 7th chords. So we would need that extra note that's in a 7th chord in order to make a third inversion chord. But for triads, you only have root position, first inversion, second inversion. That's it. Next is diminished triads. And now to get a diminished triad, we take a minor triad and flat the 5th. So if we have our G major triad, make it minor, we flat the 3rd. So that's G, B flat, D, and then to make it diminished, we flat the D, making that a D flat, G, B flat, D. That is our diminished triad. Okay, so root, flat 3, and flat 5 for the diminished. Between G and B flat, that's a minor third. Between B flat and D flat, that is also a minor third. So as you can see, the diminished chord has 2 minor thirds. The outside interval is going to be a tritone, also known as a flat 5th. Now you might be asking, if you know a little bit about music theory, why not a sharp 4? Because it's technically the same note. But in the case of a diminished chord, we're talking about a flat 5, so you would want to mark it that way. You wouldn't want to mark a diminished chord with a sharp 4. You would want to mark it as a flat 5. So anyway, that's your G diminished. So now bringing G up to the top, we have B flat, D flat, G. Here's your minor third. Here's your tritone. B flat to G is a major 6th. Now, the diminished chord is most often found in first inversion. It just works better as a predominant chord, and so most oftentimes you'll see it in first inversion. And now for the last diminished chord, we bring B flat to the top, G, D flat. Spoiler alert, that's G diminished over D flat. Now let's go over the intervals. There's your tritone right there. There's your minor third, and the outside interval is A, major 6th. And now the only quality we have left for basic triads is augmented. To get an augmented chord, one way to look at that is you have a major triad, but you sharp the 5. So again, our example for G, G, B. It's not going to be just D, it'll be D sharp. So first inversion G augmented, most of the time you'll see it as G plus. Sometimes you'll see it as G aug, G-A-U-G. Okay? Going over the intervals in this chord, we have a major third. We have another major third. And the outside interval G to D sharp, we can just call that an augmented fifth. Again, it's not really a flat six because we're talking augmented. So augmented means you're raising it up, you're augmenting something, so you're not diminishing it. It's the opposite of diminish. So that's an augmented fifth. Going to first inversion augmented, you got B, D, sharp, and G. Major third here. Then you got another major third here. And B to G, you got a minor sixth. So write this out to be G plus over B. G augmented over B. Last one. D, sharp, G, B. D sharp to G is a major third. G to B is a major third also. And then D sharp to B is your sharp five, or your augmented fifth. G augmented over D sharp. So I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. Practical theory, this whole series is basically whiteboard lectures on music theory and concepts, and I hope you've learned something from it. And until next time, I will see you. Please like and subscribe for more, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.